Welcome everyone to Vested Interest. This is Shane back for a Stock of the Day video. It is March 19th. We're going to take a look at one out of the industrial sector. It's an aero defense company. I would say it's called Thales, but this is a French company, so it may be Thales is how they pronounce it. Anyone who knows that for sure, let me know in the comment section down below. Is it Thales or is it Thales with the French twist on it there? If you could do me a big favor, it doesn't take but a couple seconds of your time. It is free to do, but it really does help out a small YouTube channel like mine with the YouTube algorithm. If you could watch the video to the end, watch time is one of the metrics that YouTube looks at. Share with anyone you think that might find value in the content, and drop a thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up button down below if you find any value in the content. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Join us on this journey to financial freedom. Join the Vested Interest community, and click that notification bell so you're notified whenever I put out any new content. And the thanks button is there available for those of you who might want to buy me a cup of coffee. That is a way to financially help the channel as well. Really appreciate everyone who's taking the time to do that. And a special thank you to the viewers and subscribers of the channel. The channel continues to grow because of people like you. Now, this is the vested interest stock screener that we will be running through in this video. We will see how it shakes out at the end. Must meet 5 of 8 to make it onto my watch list. Just because it makes it on my watch list does not necessarily mean I'm buying. It just means I am interested in doing more of a deep dive into the financials of the company. Thousands of companies out there. This is a way, an initial screener for me to look at and see what companies I want to spend some time doing more of a deep dive. Don't blindly use price to book, one being fair value. That is really for financial companies. That's why it's highlighted in green down here below. And when we are looking at financial companies like a bank or an insurance company, then we add in price to book with one being fair value, and it must meet 6 of 9 to make it onto my watch list. All right, back to Thales or Thales, whichever one you want to call it. Again, if anyone knows for sure, let me know. And if we have any French viewers out there, let me know for sure. Is it Thales or is it Thales Group? And you can check them out on their homepage, www.thalesgroup.com or www.thalesgroup.com. It's www.thalesgroup.com, www.thalesgroup or thalesgroup.com. All right, in a world full of opportunity and unpredictability, we help those with big ambitions think faster and act smarter. From the bottom of the ocean to the depths of space and cyberspace, our architects combine unique and diverse expertise to allow our customers to confidently master every decisive moment along the way. In defense and security, and that's really their bread and butter. They are an aero defense company. They offer some security contracts out there, helping them maintain security, tactical superiority, and strategic independence, right? So they're like a Lockheed Martin here in the United States, or a General Dynamics, a company along those lines. That's really what they do. And if you want to know more about them, again, you can check them out on their homepage. Defense and security, digital identity and security, aerospace, space, traverse markets, and specific solutions, right? So they'll reach out to your business and find specific solutions for whatever your issue is that you're trying to solve. And the reason we are taking a look at them, down 3.03% on the day. We are talking about Thales or Thales, ticker THLLY. Again, a defense contractor out of the industrial sector. Closed up the day at $54. 52-week range as low as $28.05, as high as $55.74. Definitely closer to their 52-week high. And I'm assuming there was a big run up here recently. At least that's what it looked like whenever I looked at their, more than a week out beyond the 1 day. Looked at the 6 month and the 1 month. Beyond the 1 day, they've had a recent run up, and I'm assuming that is because of the announcements with all the new spending that Europe in general is looking to increase across the board for those countries over there in response to what's going on with the Ukraine and the Russia war there. But their market cap of 55.456 billion, a beta of 0.62, so less volatile than the overall market. That's what beta is. The beta is the volatility of the market being 1. PE ratio seems very elevated at $50.94 per share. But if they're growing fast enough, I guess maybe they justify that, but they would need to be growing extremely fast. Earnings per share, EPS $1.06. Earning date was March 4th. You can go check that out on their webpage. Forward dividend is 74 cents per share. I believe they're a semi-annual payer. We'll see that here a little bit at the end, with a starting dividend yield currently of 1.33%. Ex-dividend date was December 2nd. They paid out on the 19th. So if you were to buy them now, you would be in line for their next dividend, but they haven't announced an ex-dividend date for that. And remember, for the ex-dividend date, you want to be buying the day before the ex-dividend date to make sure you lock in the dividend. Don't buy on the ex-dividend date. So if you were to buy that on the 2nd, you wouldn't necessarily get the dividends on the 19th, because they don't lock in who owns those shares till the end of the business day, which usually means the next business day, which would really be the 3rd. So the 1st or before, when you see an ex-dividend date, the day before that, that's when you want to be buying, or even earlier, right? All right. 1-year target estimate, Yahoo Finance didn't have one, so can't really look at that. We're going to look at their 5-year dividend yield average, looking at dividend yield theory. In their 5-year dividend yield average compared to their current, 1.33%. Over here where it says forward, 1.33%. Since it is lower than their 5-year average, that speaks to overvaluation, at least according to dividend yield theory. Payout ratio is under the 75% I look for, though it is a little bit elevated at 70.30, so that it would be something to watch. Again, anything under 75% to me is fine, but some of you might, 60%, 50%, 55%, whatever the number is you are looking for, you can tweak and adjust. But for me, 75% or lower, except for stuff, like REITs or closed-end funds, some other ones out there that pay a higher dividend payout. Now, dropping down, I want growing free cash flow. I want a company to be financially sound. I want their free cash flow to be growing. The things that companies can do with free cash flow, they can pay down debt, they can make acquisitions, reinvest back into the company, they can buy back shares, which this company is doing. They can pay a dividend, which this company does, and they can raise that dividend over time, which usually follows free cash flow growth. Going back here to December 2021, you can see $2.2 billion in free cash flow. 2022 here was 2.4. Big drop in 2023, down to $970 million. 2024 back up to $2 billion. They are repurchasing shares as well, as I mentioned, 26 million and a little bit more in 2021. 2022, they jumped that up to 350 million. 2023, even though their free cash flow looks like they dropped a bunch, they increased their repurchase of shares to 491 million. Definitely doesn't offset that big of a drop in free cash flow, but does offset some of that. And then 2024 here, 275 million. So they are actively pulling shares out of the market. I like to see that. All right, over to stockanalysis.com. This is another source I go to for information, not affiliated with stockanalysis.com or Yahoo Finance, which is where the information on the previous slide was from. And as you can see here, because it's a foreign company, a lot of times I don't get the projections. I don't get some of the other information, so I clipped out what I could. We did have return on equity and return on invested capital, which are two metrics I like to look for initially in the screener. I like 10% or better for both of these. Return on equity at 12.84% beats the metric there. But return on invested capital is under the 10% I look for. Again, earnings per share is another one that I look at. I can't look at it because they didn't have it listed. And their dividend history, yes, they are a semi-annual payer. I thought that's what I saw when I looked at them. They're saying here, according to stockanalysis.com, that their payout ratio is 49.9%. Yahoo Finance had it in the 70% range. So this is one of those examples where I would say look for a third source, and that's why I recommend more than one source, so you can make sure the information you are getting is accurate and up to date. And whenever you have a conflict, you look to that third source to kind of figure out which way is the right way to go. What is the correct information? So 49.9% is well under the 75% I look for, but Yahoo Finance had them at 70%. So I would look for a third source to verify which one is correct. They do have nice dividend growth at 10.93%. They pay out December and June, right? A couple times a year there. So it's not a quarterly payer like most stocks, but that's all right. I've got a couple quarterly payers a couple semi-annual payers in my portfolio right now. I don't necessarily mind that, but it's something to keep in mind for those of you out there who may just want quarterly payers. Some of you want monthly payers, which is all right as well. But going back in time here, you can see December 2020, they were paying 6 cents. And now keep in mind, with this being a French company, there is going to be some adjustments based on cash transfers, right? So whenever you look at the dollar compared to I'm not sure what do they spend in France? Is that the euro? Are they on the euro now? The euro, I think they're part of the European Union. So when you look at the euro, or whenever you look at the Canadian dollar, there is some differences in fluctuations in exchange rates between the dollar and those foreign currencies. So they're going to fluctuate a little bit based on that, but you should, if the company is growing, still see the same type of growth over time. So going back here to the dividend history, sorry to get long-winded on that, but just wanted to make sure I touch on that, as there might be a little bit of fluctuation based on currency exchanges reflected here as well. But December 2020 here, you can see they paid out 6 cents and some fractions of a penny. May 2021 here, which is the June payout, they paid 22 cents. And it looks like that's kind of how they do it, right? The December payout is one, and then the later one in June is higher. So 6 cents. So let's look at that based on that breakdown. December 1st, 6 cents. December 2020, December 2021, 8 cents. And some fractions of a penny. December 2022, 8 cents again, but 8.9 instead of 8.8. Again, that could be the difference in exchange rates. You might want to look at that. But in December 2023, up to 10 cents. And same thing, looks like December 2024, 10 cents. But instead of 10.4 or 10 cents and fractions of a penny, a little bit more fractions of a penny in December. And same thing looking at their May payout, 22 cents and some fractions of a penny. May 2022, 29 cents. May 23, 34 cents, and May 24, 39 cents. So you can see that growth there, even though the initial payout for the first payout of the month, or I'm sorry, the initial payout for the first part of the year is higher than the second payout of the year, right? So different way to look at that, but it does look like their payouts are growing over time, which is what we want to see. All right, let's jump over to the screener. Understand the business. They're a defense contractor. Again, very similar to like a Lockheed Martin, General Dynamics, one of those defense contractors that you might recognize here in America. That's what they do, but they are just a foreign defense contractor based out of France. Growing free cash flow, no. It was a bit up and down. Growing dividend, yes. It looks like they're double-digit growth, which is nice to see. Dividend payout ratio is under 75%. Whether it's 70% or around 50%, you need to look for a third source there. But I'm going to give them a check there. Dividend yield theory says they're potentially overvalued. They are not even close to within 52 weeks of a 52-week low or 15% of a 52-week low, so no check there. Return on invested capital was lower than 10%. Return on equity was over at 12%. Earnings per share was not listed. So we've got 3 of 8 that does not make it onto my watch list, and really the ones that are not there are around valuation, right? If the valuation was to come down within 15% of a 52-week low, you could get that. And potentially, if the valuation came down low enough, that might bring them within dividend yield theory to get a check there, where the dividend yield theory would be potentially undervalued, right? So you could potentially look for this one to fall back down into a price closer to its 52-week low, and then you could pick up the other 2 checks. I don't know that their return on equity and return on invested capital will change enough. And if you could find earnings per share, see if it's over 5%, maybe you could get a check there. But again, that's one of those ones where you might go look for a third source, because I couldn't find it on either stockanalysis.com or Yahoo Finance. Well, let me know what you think of, is it Thales in the comment section down below. Again, out of the industrial sector, but they're an aero defense company. And as always, appreciate you stopping by. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to show me some love. Hit that thumbs up, ring the notification bell. Most importantly, subscribe to the channel. Join us on this journey to financial freedom. Join the vested interest community. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the video. Let me know what you think of Thales or Thales, whichever you prefer. I do personally read and respond to the comments. I'm always interested to read your questions, opinions, or suggestions for future topics. So if you have a company like Thales or Thales you'd like me to cover in the Stock Pick of the Day video series, drop in the comment section. I'll work into the rotation. And this is Shane signing off, wishing peace and prosperity to you and yours. And remember, financial security comes to those who take a vested interest. Hey, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you have a great week, and we will see you in the next one. I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing in this presentation should be considered financial advice. I'm only sharing my opinion and investing journey for educational and entertainment purposes. Investing involves risk. You can lose money. You should never invest any amount you're not comfortable losing. Always do your own research. Invest based on your situation, circumstances, and select criteria, or seek the advice and counsel of a certified financial advisor.